Okay. Well, looks like I broke Chat GPT 4. Just kidding, of course, but let's check it out. Um, Here we go. I asked it a question and it got stuck, which could be the browser, could be anything, right? But after going through a whole bunch of stuff, explaining stuff, I mean, I went through it for hours, of course. I came to ask him or it. Let's see if that's the first one. No. Oh, there you go. Do you know about the CNF S&P markers and the IJK S&P markers? Says, yes, I'm familiar with S&P single nucleotide polymorphism markers, including the CF and IJK markers, which are used in genetic research to study human ancestry and population history. S&P markers are variations in a single nucleotide base pair that occur at specific positions in the genome and are inherited from generation to generation. By analyzing S&P patterns in DNA samples from different populations, researchers can infer relationships between individuals, populations, and ancestral groups. The CF S&P markers are a set of genetic variants found on the Y chromosome, which is passed from father to son. These markers are used to study the paternal lineage, Y DNA of individuals and populations. The CF marker represents a deep ancestral lineage within the Y chromosomal phylogeny. Similarly, the IJK S&P markers are a set of genetic variants found on the Y chromosome representing another deep ancestral lineage within the Y chromosomal phylogeny. These markers, along with others, help researchers reconstruct the evolutionary history. There's no such thing as evolution of human populations and trace patterns of migration and divergence over time. By analyzing S&P markers in conjunction with other genetic data, such as mitochondrial DNA and autosomal DNA, we're not even talking about autosomal inside. Okay, if you have a specific question, okay. So I say, instead of assuming descendancy, why don't you consider the CF marker and the IJK marker suggest having a common ancestor between the three major lineages? Certainly. CF marker, IJK markers, along with other S&P markers, are used in genetic research and for relationships between different populations, ancestral groups. These markers provide insights into evolutionary history of human population and can help researchers reconstruct patterns of migrations, of divergence, and population admixtures over time. CF marker represents a deep ancestral lineage within the Y chromosome phylogeny. IJK marker represents another deep ancestral lineage. These markers, along with others, help researchers the patterns of DNA. These markers, along with others, help researchers trace the paternal lineage Y DNA of individuals and population. It's important to note that genetic markers like CF and IJK do not directly specify descent from a single individual or ancestor group. Instead, they reflect patterns of genetic variation and common ancestry within human populations, while the presence of shared genetic markers among populations suggests common ancestry. The exact nature of ancestral relations requires further investigation and analysis. These interpretation of genetic data, including S&P markers, is complex, and it's not complete. These are incomplete. There are only certain markers that help support or that they want to use to support their out of Africa belief. Requires careful consideration, multiple factors, and analysis, and that. Okay. So you would agree that the C and F lineages can have a common ancestor and that the I, J, and K lineages can have a common ancestor. Yes, that is correct. In the context of the human Y chromosome DNA, haplogroups, which are defined by specific sets of genetic markers such as S&P markers. It is understood that different haplogroups can share common ancestral lineages. The CF and IJK haplogroups are major branches within the Y chromosomal phylogeny, with CF representing one of the deepest divergences and IJK representing another. Within each of these major haplogroups, there are further subbranches, subgroups that reflect additional branching events of genetic diversification over time. For example, the CF haplogroup and the C and F families are specific subbranches that share common ancestor. Okay. Here we have it right here. The C and F lineages are specific subbranches that share a common ancestor within broader CF lineage. But this is important. The C and F lineages share a common ancestor. So Nimrod and the descendants of Shem share a common ancestor, which of course is Noah. Similarly, with the IJK haplogroups, the IJ and K lineages are specified subbranches that share a common ancestor within the broader IJK lineage. Understanding the relationship between different Y DNA haplogroups and their subbranches is essential for reconstructing the evolutionary history of human populations, including patterns of migration, divergence, population admixture, by analyzing the distribution and frequency of specific haplogroups and genetic markers across diverse populations. Researchers can gain insight into human population history and the people of different regions of the world. You have further questions? Yeah. So my next question broke it. Either browser broke, but it started, well, it could be my computer too, but anyways, it started having trouble answering some of the questions that I was asking. But with this one, it just broke. So I said, that means the C lineage of Nimrod and his descendants share a common ancestor with the FGH and IJ haplogroups of Shem, while the IJ lineage of Arphaxad and his descendants share a common ancestor with the K through T lineage of Japheth. Now, if I go ahead and refresh this browser, it's going to erase all of the discussion that I had with him. So he's not even going to remember anything, and he's not going to remotely understand what I'm saying. Anyway, that's good enough for now, good enough for today. That is about it. So here we go. That's about good, and maybe I can find something to do today. And God bless everybody. And there's nothing we have to worry about, because it's all the facts support the Bible. In fact, the Bible is the only historical record in existence that is supported by the genetic evidence of the Cohen modal haplotype, which identifies Aaron, Levi, Israel, Abraham, Eber, and Arphaxad. It's the only historical record that has genetic evidence to support what it's saying. So you take that to the bank too. God bless everybody. Take care.